Bidding strategies for Google can be very complex because you have everything from enhanced cost per clicks to max conversions, max conversion value, T ROAS, CPM based buys, all sorts of stuff, right? So you have to align the right goal with the right bidding strategy, but you have to know the pros and cons. We actually did a video on this prior, but I actually want to delve a little bit deeper to make sure you're more informed as possible when you develop these campaigns so you can get a better revenue for your client. So let's just jump in. We actually have our Medium article here that I developed. And the reason why I include a lot of these Medium articles is because I want to make sure you can follow along. So after we discuss it on video, if you want to look at any special formulas or any special definitions or terminologies, or just have that hard copy to follow or even distribute, please take a look and share it with your friends. It's fine with me. That's why I made it. But I want you guys to if you guys want to take a harder look, I mean, this is definitely the way to do it. So let's dive a little further. So when you're first looking at your bidding strategy, it's not even the strategy first you have to look at, it's the goal. So the first is, if you want somebody to take direction on your site, that's a conversion goal. When you want to generate traffic, that's max clicks, cost per clicks, focusing on clicks in general. Then you have brand awareness. You have generating awareness. So that's CPM or viewable CPMs. Then you have video ads, right? And the video ads are for long form messaging. It's cost per view. Sometimes it's a CPM for like 15 non-skippable video content. And the video ads generate consideration. That's their primary goal. So now we've discussed a very high level what our goals are. Let's talk about the different options, right? What is smart bidding and manual bidding? Well, my friend, smart bidding's here to stay. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Do I think cost per click or manual is going away? No, I don't think so. I think it'd be chaos if it did. I think it's going to be here for a few more years. But I think we should be really using smart bidding as much as possible with our conversion buys. These buys are just getting so much more complex, and it's so much more crowded market space, right? So the only way to really keep up is to have the machine do it for us and to keep track of where people are at in their conversion funnel. Are they intent to buy? Do they need more time? Have they already been exposed and they've been exposed 6 times and the machine actually identifies this person as ready to buy for our campaigns? That's all done through algorithms and machine learning. So we need to make sure that we understand that that's the best place for conversions, right? Unless, of course, you're doing, like I said, cost per clicks and you're just sending traffic. But of course, let's start with smart bidding. And when we talk about smart bidding, we talked about conversion. So let's talk about these first bidding strategies that we can delve into. So we have cost per action or targeted cost per action. And these are great ways to increase your conversions. But when I say conversions, it can mean a couple things. It can mean ATC, add a cart, initiate checkout, IC. It can mean submit lead form. It could mean lead gen as well. So the pro is that it actually drives those particular events at a targeted cost. The algorithm favors conversion tracking, so it actually has a lot of unprofitable clicks. You won't get a lot of like misclicks here, right? Because you're trying to get that specific action at that specific cost. So it'll do whatever it can to make sure the click fits the action or the event when it actually happens down the funnel once people land from the click. The cons are you cannot set the big cost per click bid cap. The TCPA requires a healthy budget. Your daily budget needs to at least be 2 times your targeted CPA to learn quickly, right? And it could be possibly a little bit higher. These are best, of course, when you have 1, maybe 2 actions, or if you even want to do sales, it's 1 or 2 different products that are even similar. So understand this is almost like a very limited buying that you're doing for a limited SKU, right? Or a limited action, I should say. Then, of course, you have targeted return on ad spend. And these focus on a certain ROAS, targeting a specific ad spend in relation to what you set the ROAS at, right? So basically, if you set it at a 5 ROAS, it'll try and get there. Now, I don't recommend using targeted ROAS for target return on ad spend at 5. I do the best when it's low, when it's between 2.5 and 3. Sometimes at the most 3.5. That generates the lowest return on ad spend, or spend itself, to get the highest conversion value back. And that's what spews up your ROAS. The pros is it was made for e-commerce platforms with multiple SKUs, right? Because the cool thing is like we talked about earlier, it's only a few SKUs, right? Or one or two, or just limited actions. For TROAS, it's actually the opposite. It's actually, you want to put, you actually want to give it as many variables as possible, from cheap to expensive, so it can work within your TROAS guidance within your daily budget. So that way it'll enter as many auctions as possible. If you actually drive the ROAS, the targeted ROAS, even lower, that's ideal. So that's its key to make it work. It gravitates towards buy-in ready audiences. The cons is it needs a feedback loop, right? Because it's coming back with revenue guidance based on your particular SKUs. So if it makes that sale, it needs to have it come back. So if it doesn't have that right, and it has to be accurate, guys. You need to be really checking accuracy of your of your actual transactions in your revenue, right? I always like to check it every couple months just to make sure it's accurate. We do fake promos actually to do that. So you guys should definitely be doing that and double checking, that against your Shopify spending reports or whatever spending reports they have, making sure they're semi close, and, relatively in the same ballpark. Because, the last thing you want is to have, faulty data on revenue of all things, and purchases that were there, purchases that didn't happen, that the system reported, right? So always keep that in mind. Your feedback loop has to be good, so constantly audit that. And then, of course, the goal, like we were talking about, is to find the lowest spend threshold for the highest conversion value. And like I said, that's at the fruit of TROAS. Now, we're going to revisit this, though, by the way, when I'm going to talk about maximum conversion value. But maximum conversions is a little bit different than targeted CPA. Because remember, those are conversions too. So max conversions are with, again, a limited event that you want to track, such as lead gen, ATC, submit lead form, whatever you want it to do. And you want to drive the maximum highest volume of conversions for that budget, right? So it's going to say, instead of relying on your, whatever $50 cost cost per action, it's going to actually say, okay, instead of that, because we said do 2, for that $100, I'm going to see as many as I can get, right? This is pretty cool. Again, if you're working with a few SKUs, right, or limited actions. Now, when I've done maximum conversions versus TCPA, I actually did better with TCPA, and the reason why was this was really cool. So what I did was I actually found the benchmark basically through Max Clicks, right? So I found out where we were at. I started there. I was like, okay, so this is the baseline. After it's been fully learned, roughly 15 to 20 conversions over a 30-day period, right? It should be 30 for 30, but I actually do 15 or so. So once it hits that, once I find that threshold and I switch to conversions, I start working it down, right? So for that $50, when I find out it's through Max Clicks, I actually say, okay, so that's what it is for that 1 week. Let's bring it down, right, to 45. Let's bring it down to 40. And that's how you bring down your targeted CPA, right? With max conversions, you can't do that. So keep that in mind. And like I said, it was one instance where I was getting a targeted submit lead form for $60 for a client. At the very end of the process, after I think it was about 2 months, I think we had them down to like $15. So, but that was through this lowering it and leveling it, right? Using different creatives and really just bringing it down, that targeted CPA. But when I did it, I made sure that I had to wait sometimes, right? Because I had to relearn and just keep adjusting down. So it wasn't like every week I could do it. And then also, when you're doing that, I only adjusted it like 25% or so, or 20%. It wasn't very much because I wanted to bring it down. I didn't want to rush it because I knew if I brought it down too much, it wouldn't spend. So, That's for maximum conversions. Maximum conversions I'm using right now, it's so-so. I think the target CPA is a lot cooler. Um, but as long as you're realistic, you have to be very realistic with it, and then you can start bringing it down. Um, Maximum conversion value. Okay, so again, this is part of the value-based portion of the bidding strategy. Now, why wouldn't we always just do maximum conversion value, right? This is a very good question. When you have TROAS and you have maximum conversion value, why wouldn't you just do maximum conversion value, right? Take the budget and then give it the maximum conversion value, i.e., the name maximum conversion value. The name maximum conversion value will automatically skew towards your highest AOV or highest average order value. So therefore, you always, well, not always, but I prefer, I gotta watch what I say. I prefer to do TROAS, right? Because not, you don't want to always skew to the highest or skew the whole buy to the highest return, right? Because that's usually what will happen. Then it'll work its way down to medium to see if it can even get those, right? TROAS works a little different because TROAS, you actually want to enter the lowest or one of the lowest, right? 2.5 to 3.5, like we talked about. Have it come in, have it win some auctions at the lower priced auctions, right? That's why it's able to work so well. So what it'll do is it'll actually win so many buys. After it wins its bottom clearance, it'll even go higher. It'll go to the medium clearance. That's when the RAS starts to build. Then it'll throw money to the highest bidder or the highest AOVs. And then eventually those will convert over a day or so. That's how it's able to do it. Right. So you'll always have that. Now, again, like I was saying, you'll always have that minimum set and as well as that medium set. So at the same time, it's throwing, like I said, darts at the top. Right. And then you have sometimes it actually works to get multiple medium SKUs as part of the purchase. So if somebody buys a couple things at a medium price, it's almost the equivalent of buying at a higher price, but you wouldn't know that unless you set it to like a lower TROAS. See, that's how it works. Maximum conversion value automatically does. It's almost like the opposite. It starts higher, then it comes down. That's why that bidding strategy works for me. Feel free to reach out for that too. I mean, I love explaining this stuff. Sometimes I go nuts. And then you have enhanced cost per clicks. These adjust your cost per clicks when it's basically what you're doing is you're optimizing the buy to higher intent audiences. That's all it's really doing. So you're just paying for those higher intent audiences to facilitate those purchases for conversions or conversion value or conversions to do something such as lead gen. Then of course you have maximum clicks. These are in the manual bidding family. That's where we're at now, right? So these generate a lower cost per click. They raise impression share, short learning periods. Clicks and conversions are lower quality, right? And we see this a lot. I mean, not even on Google, but we see it on Facebook, right? Because even on Facebook, I do cost per click campaigns or I do landing page view campaigns, right? And the cost per click comes out at 20 to 30 or 40 cents. Then when you switch to conversions, all of a sudden it's like $1, right? But that's because you're paying for a high intent person. You're actually paying for people who are frequent buyers, people who have been hit a few times. It'll actually identify that and say, this person's been hit like 6 times. They're about to crack. That egg's about to crack open and spend that money. That chicken's about to fly out of there, right? So that's what's so cool about when you switch to conversions, but you have to pay for it. See, that's why the cost per click gets high. So again, maximize clicks. You're just sending traffic. It's a great way to start a campaign too. I like to do this, but at the same time, when you do max clicks or you do manual cost per clicks, the problem is you always have to make sure you're always using a bid cap close by. Make sure not to spend more than like $6 or so, or even 7. Like, I mean, that's even too high itself, but you don't want to make sure it's not spending $10 to $12, $15 a cost per click, just for max clicks. That means you're just wasting. That's low quality traffic. And then another word on that is, you basically, your ad budget will spend in full. And then another thing is you'll have minimum time to view, monitor, and adjust the bids. And then, like I said, make sure you set a threshold, cost per click threshold. And then, oh yeah, and then also it's not an optimal way to earn ad rank or cost per conversion if you use max clicks. Because remember, max clicks, they're just bulk, right? Really, if you're looking at ad rank, which is more of a SKAG, single keyword ad group approach, and that's when you use ad rank equals your cost per click times your quality score. Your quality score is developed from your landing page experience and your keyword relevancy and your historical data, and all that's factored times your cost per click, and that equals your ad rank. Well, then there comes a question: are quality scores even relevant? You know, some people still use SKAG. I have a couple campaigns that use SKAG, but really you should start skewing your buys towards single theme or single topic ad group. Let the algorithm work for you. But again, that's smart bidding, and those are conversion buys at that point. So make sure you keep that in mind. Now, of course, you're doing this right now because you're trying to see which ads or which keywords kind of pop, right? I get that. So that's kind of cool. And again, you really want to look at roughly, they say 30 for 30. 30 conversions over 30 days. I'm big on 15 or so. 15, I think you're fine there. You're definitely going the right direction. Even 20, 15 to 20, somewhere around there. Although a lot of people disagree with that, and that's fine. Do whatever you want. Then, of course, you have manual cost per clicks. These are the highest level of control. They take more time and work, and it's manually set. And it doesn't leverage any machine learning, really. This is about as SKAG as it gets. So, wow, you're definitely about sub 4 years ago at that point. So, yeah. So I think that's really it. I think it's a good place to stop. So I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for joining us. Again, we are on. We have a podcast version of this that's on Apple Podcast, that's on Amazon, and even Audible. I actually found out it was on Audible the other day. I didn't even know it. And then, of course, we are on Rumble as well. I actually just started uploading videos there as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I greatly appreciate it. You have a great week. Thank you.